Hello and welcome to Heavy Metal Rex. My name is Weiss, and today I'm actually going to be showing you how to install something that I actually did install a long time ago, but I took it off because I was having some issues with the car, and I thought that was what was actually causing the problem, and that is the Perrin Diverter valve. Now, I've actually had this car on for the first two dyno days that you saw, and before we knew exactly what the problem was, I started taking different parts off the car, thinking that that was causing my issue. It turned out it had nothing to do with anything. It was actually Cobb's tables at that time with the E85 and how it managed ethanol, that things were going wrong. So really, this was we blamed it without actually even knowing what we were blaming. So I've been meaning to put this back on the car for some time. As you guys know, last year I didn't really do a whole lot of racing, so I didn't really think much about it, but I figured when I put it back on, it might be worth actually showing you guys how to do so. I currently have the stock bypass valve on the car right now, and I wanted to, and I'm actually going to have a whole separate video about this because I've been meaning to talk about bypass valves versus blow-off valves. Now, in essence, bypass valve just bypasses the air into a different route. Blow-off valve will actually vent it to atmosphere. There's pros and cons to each one, but this is a bypass valve. This actually goes, vents whatever air is coming out of the turbo, and it plumbs it back into a different line, which I will show you at a later time. Some of the stuff is actually already installed on the car. There is a hose that needs to be spliced into some areas. I've already done that, but what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take the car apart and show you guys exactly what that looks like. It's actually under the alternator, which is kind of a pain to take off because I actually have the Perrin alternator cover, and there's a portion of it that's a little difficult. I've already taken it off. I don't want to subject you guys to that torture. I did that to myself, but these parts are pretty easy. So you've got like the metal bit that goes on top. You've got two sets of springs, which I will go through the instructions and make sure that I completely explain to you. I believe one is for OTS and low boost, and then another spring, I believe the smaller one, is for high boost applications. So when the time comes to put the spring in, I will make sure to let you know exactly which one to put in. And it has like this little rubber thingy. You put this guy in there, you put the spring inside the diverter valve, you put this guy in here, and it all goes together, and this is what replaces the bypass valve. Now there is a switch in here. Where did it go? Yeah, right here. There is an electronic component that we do need to terminate so that the car doesn't think that it's not plugged in. So this is a little piece that they give you to terminate that. Overall installation is actually pretty simple. I know I say this now because I've done it before, but it really is. You do need to take off the plastic guard that's underneath. You want to take off the metal guard that's also underneath the car to give you enough room. If you have a turbo inlet already, I think it's easier to just undo those bolts and move it out of the way a little bit, and I'll show you guys when I get underneath the car. I believe that the more space you can give yourself to work, the better it is. I prefer that. If I've got to take a few extra things off, I'd rather do that early than like try to stick my hand somewhere where my hand doesn't fit. So I'm gonna go ahead and get underneath the car. I'll show you how to take off the stock one and put the new one on. Now, before we actually do that, there's reasons why you would want this. Now, over time, the stock one does have little rubber seals that can go bad over time. I know that there has been discussion over some of the stock bypass valves already leaking. You can actually hear that when you're doing a pull. There is a slight whistling, squeaking noise that you can sometimes be mistaken for intake noise or something else. It's actually your stock bypass valve. Not happening to a whole lot of people, but there's no seals on this, so it actually ends up being something that is better long-term. And also the stock bypass valve is plastic. Depending on who you talk to, some will say, yeah, it's totally fine. Others will say, well, you have it, you might as well replace it. It's not a super expensive part. I think it's like $160 or something like that. So for the health of the turbo, it doesn't really hurt to have it. I don't know if I already mentioned this, but like the purpose of the bypass valve in general, or blow-off valve in general, is when the turbo is creating high amounts of pressure, once you let off the throttle, all that pressure has to go somewhere, and it's not going into the manifold, so you don't want it to go back into your turbo and have your turbo spin backwards, or I don't think it would actually spin backwards, but high enough boost possibility that it could do that, but you don't want to damage it. So all that extra pressure has to go somewhere. Either it vents to the atmosphere, which is where you get that psh, psh noise, or it gets plumbed back to the intake system or some other system, some other air system, so that it doesn't harm the turbo. Really a simple tool, but incredibly valuable for what it does for your turbo. So anyway, let's get underneath the car and let me show you how to take out the stock one.
So I do want to show you guys the bottom of my turbo. I do have an oil leak. I have 2 oil leaks, and I know exactly where they're from. When I installed the AOS, there was a section that I had to put a hose, or not a hose, I'm sorry, an O-ring, and I believe I put that O-ring incorrectly, and it's right above the turbo and the turbo inlet. So oil has been dripping. I've been really lazy on trying to get it fixed because it hasn't been a big deal, but it's enough of a deal that I need to fix that. All right, it's really difficult for me to film with my actual camera, so I'm just gonna use my phone here. So what I did was I took off the 2 bolts that hold on the turbo inlet right here, and you can see right behind the turbo inlet, this is actually the factory bypass valve. It's just got 3 bolts on it as well, which I'm gonna take off, and it has, you can see this is the electronic component that I was referring to that needs to be terminated. So now that I've got this out of the way, I'm gonna take this guy off, I'll go ahead and terminate that, and then we'll look at the difference between the stock one and the Perrin.
Now I'm gonna try to explain this to the best of my abilities, and I'll show you guys again when we get underneath. To put this together, I did double check their instructions. You have 2 springs. You have a shorter spring and a longer spring. So the shorter spring is for OTS maps, stage 1 OTS map, low boost, or maybe like a very low map, like a low power map. Higher boost, you're gonna want the longer spring. So I'm gonna put the smaller spring away because I don't need that. So what you will do is you will put the spring over the cap, it's got like this little thing inside, you can put it on there, and this goes on here as well. Now, the way that this is gonna install on the car is if you are looking at, and I'll show you again what there, if you are looking at the engine laying down, looking up, this is how it should look. This Perrin logo should be a little bit on the right and to the top because this is not completely symmetrical, and I noticed this when I installed this last time, is the screws won't line up unless you have this at the right angle. So what I will do is I will put each screw in there and just thread it lightly and just kind of jiggle it around and make sure I got it on right. But I'll talk about that when I get down below.
All right, so that took a little bit longer than expected, but basically this is how the orientation is. You got the turbo, you got this on. So this is where the logo needs to be, like that, for everything to fit perfect. And the torque specs are like 5 pound-foot torque, which if you have a torque wrench, you can actually go try to get it up here. Mine probably is not gonna fit, but 5 pound-foot is not a whole lot. And I've done this a few times now that I kind of know is pretty damn tight.
Okay, now this part can be a little scary and a little intimidating if you've never done this before. I agree, because the first time I did it, it was intimidating. And what you need to do is you actually need to get the belt off the alternator. And to do that, there's a section right here. You can actually take a, what is this, a 17 mil and pull up against this. And then as you line up these 2 holes, you can just put an Allen key through there to keep that from moving. So what we need to do is you need to actually remove the alternator, and there's 2, I don't know what size those are, I think those may be 10 millimeters. There's 2 bolts right underneath that need to be removed, and this alternator can be wiggled out of the way. And I can show you where that hose needs to go. I actually already have the hose here. Like I said, I've already got this hose from last time, so I'm gonna undo this and just send it down and put it to the diverter valve, and I'll show you what it looks like on this side.
Now, to be fair, you don't need a clamp on here, but since I had this clamped elsewhere, I feel comfortable having it on there. Because the front of the hose did get a little bit wider than it used to be. So instead of cutting it and making it shorter, I will just clamp it down.
So I plugged everything up. Everything underneath is connected. The intake is connected. All that's connected. Just turn the car on, make sure everything's okay. I'm actually just going to go for a quick drive, make sure everything's okay. I really don't expect anything different. My tune was already compensated to have this, so not really something I need to worry about. Most people will tell you this is, this is something I should ask Graham to see if it's really necessary to have a tune on. I don't believe that it is, just because we're not changing anything. We're just making the air go back somewhere else instead of it just spinning around and thing, which is honestly, it's the same. So the only thing you want to double check is before you put everything together that the belt is actually on. I did actually double check that. I triple check that. Make sure everything is okay. Just wanted to show you guys, it's been a few months, not weeks, months since I've actually plugged up my access board because I don't really have a reason to do so. I pretty much know what the car is doing at any given time. I did notice after plugging up my DAM is down to 9.3, but I haven't been going to the best places for gas lately because I don't do any racing and it's purely for commute. So it's probably just bad gas. You can see there's no knock, no fine knock learn, no feedback knock, nothing else. I will take this later on for a drive, but I'm not too worried about how it reacts because these numbers look totally normal to me. So that's it for this installation. Like I said, it's pretty easy. You just want to make sure you have the right tools, you got the time, you give yourself some time, you're patient with it, because I know the things that you're going to have the hardest trouble with is getting that T-clamp on and getting that hose down there and getting the diverter valve actually aligned. I know those are the two things, even though I've done it before, is one of those is exactly what I had trouble with again this time. Definitely give yourself some space. Take the intake manifold off, take the intake off, give yourself as much space as you need. As you saw, I actually did switch over to a ratchet instead of a screwdriver because there just wasn't enough room. Other than that, it's not super necessary to have, but definitely check with your tuner to see if it's something that could be holding you back. There are a couple of other options that are on the market. I just went with Perrin because Perrin is the one that sent it to me, but if you want to go with a blow-off valve, that's, people say you do like a 50-50, so it's like half recirculate, half vent to atmosphere. Still something you definitely want to check with your tuner. That one definitely requires a tune because you're messing with air. So if you're interested in picking this up, I definitely have this on our website here at Ecotech. I'll put the link down in the description below. If you have any questions, as always, feel free to ask me. Anything I can't answer, I'll definitely get the answer for you and get back to you. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.